What is up YouTube, I'm Royal, I'm rank 1 Wild Rift, and today I'm bringing you a new video where I'm gonna quickly review the patch notes of 5.0 and kind of talk about them, talk about what's gonna be OP, what's gonna be useless, and my first impressions and thoughts on it. I'm actually doing this on stream, so my stream is currently listening to me make a video kind of. So first of all, let's get started with the new champions. Syndra. Super excited for Syndra. Syndra was one of my most played champions in League of Legends. So I have like thousands of Syndra games. So I'm very excited for Syndra to be finally coming to Wild Rift. The new season is starting tomorrow, so probably it's already out when you guys are watching this video. For the people on stream, it's coming out in a bit. The new Wild Pass, we don't care about Wild Passes. Aurelion Sol rework. So Aurelion Sol rework was very successful in PC League. He went from being one of the most useless champions to one of the best champions in the game. So I'm hoping that he's super useful in Wild Rift 2. I'm excited. I'll be playing him on stream today. And my chat is already making fun of me. I can't believe it. Anyway, Gragas, big change on his body slam. So now you can cast your barrel roll while doing the body slam, so this gonna make him feel a little smoother. You're gonna do your little combo better, and Gragas is overall gonna be pretty hard buffed by the item changes, I think, but we'll go into that later, like tank Gragas. So for Lee Sin, they're finally making a good change on Lee Sin, right? They're removing his insane damage on the ulti and giving it more health damage. So you don't just one-shot squishy champions anymore. It's more focused towards killing tanks as well. So this is actually a good change. This is a slight nerf to Lee Sin in my opinion. However, it's a nice, much needed change, and it's gonna make tank Lee Sin or like bulky Lee Sin a little better. He won't just be one-shotting you from full HP anymore. Zyra got some very well-deserved nerfs. I think she will still probably be fine because of how strong she was last patch. But these are some really good nerfs, definitely in the right direction. Her ult range was too big. The root duration was too long, and the plant damage was too high. So I like all of these nerfs are good. She will still be viable. She's not going to be useless. So increased attack range. So this is mostly to make a few abilities feel a little smoother. So I'm a massive fan of changes like this. So pretty much every ability that empowers a no attack is going to have a little more range. And that's going to feel really good, especially on Jax. I'm super excited about Jax this patch because of the Spear of Sojourn item as well. So we're going to skip all the arena changes because I don't really play arena or care. So champion balance. Okay, this is by far the most important changes of the patch that will completely shift the meta. Okay? So. Oh wait, this is arena. What? Okay, the actual changes that matter are lower down. These changes don't matter. These are still arena changes. Okay, let's do the items first, and then we'll talk about the game mechanics changes. These changes right here are the super important ones. But let's do the items first, so we'll take it in order. So, items. Spear of Sojourn. This item was so broken in PC League. However, now they've made it work with your ultimate. So this is going to be really good on bruisers that pop their ultimate to be useful. So that's champions like Renekton, champions like Jax, right? Where you pop your ulti first and then you use your abilities. So this is going to be a great addition for champions like Renekton and Jax. I think we'll be the main users of that. I could see Set also use it. Pretty much every champion that benefits from being bulky and having super low cooldowns. Titanic Hydra, this item is so insane. I was waiting for this item to come to Wild Rift. It's such an insane item, by the way. So this will make every HP stacking champion really good. And the same goes for Heartsteel. So immediately when I saw this, I'm like, wow, Sion is going to be the most broken champion of all time with these changes. But on top of Sion, there's other bruisers that will really like this. Like the Renekton, like the Garen, right? So Baron laners are gonna be massively buffed this patch. So these two items are huge for bruisers and tanks, especially tanks. We might start seeing tank Gragas again with Heartsteel. I wouldn't be surprised to see that a lot more. Sion, of course, is going to be the biggest winner of this patch, in my opinion. Like, Sion is going to be S tier, maybe even God tier in the Baron lane, especially when you see the rest of the changes. So Mantle of the 12th Hour, now instead of healing, it grants HP. So this is actually a really nice buff, especially for tankier champions, especially since it will work well with Heartsteel and Titanic Hydra now. Rendwin's Omen is a little better now as well, I think. Let me do a quick little reading. When you attack an enemy champion, consume all determination and heal yourself for the same amount. Okay, I don't really understand this change, but it seems to be about the same thing, so it doesn't really matter. So Zeke's Convergence, they remove the magic resist and they actually give it HP. So this is going to be a lot better for supports. Because supports were kind of getting useless magic resist a lot of the time, when HP is what you want to be getting in the early game, right? So this is a big buff to Zeke's, in my opinion. It's going to make it a lot more useful for supports. Runans is actually getting a decent buff too. This is a really good change for Runans, and it's going to make it super viable on champions like Twitch, champions like Akshan, maybe Jinx. So this is a good Runans change for the champions that actually use Runans. Very good change for Kayle as well, because for the AP champions like Twitch and Kayle, the 10 AP is going to be really nice. It's going to be a lot better than the 10% attack speed. The support items were nerfed, and now it takes longer to get the gold, which is good because we hate supports. So this is a nice change. So map changes. The Enclave in the Baron lane, I'm not sure how that's going to play out in the Baron lane, but it's going to make good players even better, from my understanding. So this will be big. For good players that can actually abuse this Enclave for ganks, for 2v2s. Junglers need to learn how to set up ganks differently as well. So this is a very nice change. The Honey Fruits are lower back. This is going to help melee champions. So ranged champions are going to be a lot less viable now in the Baron lane. Like playing Teemo, Lucian top, that will be less viable. Vayne top, the Bruisers are going to start dominating again. That's my take. Bruisers and tanks will be very, very strong. Okay, now let's look at the most important part of these changes, which is the game mechanic changes. This changes the fundamentals of the game and has massive impacts all around. So first of all, they're removing the cannon minion in the early game, and they are adding a siege minion, right? So this will make early game waves weaker or similar strength from what I'm understanding. They'll be replaced with cannon minions. Players should hopefully be able to concentrate on laning during the early game while having better control of the minion wave. So this means that you can't just one-shot a wave, immediately base, and come back to lane on the next minion wave. So siege minions will appear later on. So it's weaker than the siege minion, but stronger than the melee minion. So there's actually a change that's going to make early game roaming less good, and you're gonna get punished more in lane if you're bad. So this is a good change for lane bullies, bad change for scaling champions. This completely destroys bot lane and makes it useless. So in the first 7 minutes of the game, certain experience points from minion waves are reduced, while solo laners gain higher experience points in mid and top lanes. So this means that ADCs and supports are gonna be super far behind when it comes to XP, right? While solo laners are going to be ahead, and junglers will be ahead too. So this is a massive nerf for support in ADC. Obviously, they don't tell us the numbers, so we don't know how big it is, but this is a massive nerf for support in ADC. So the experience mechanic, this means that if you're falling behind in lane, you're not going to be forgiven as much. So this is again a nerf to bad players and a buff to good players. This is also massive, adjust experience points for leveling up. This pretty much guarantees that scaling champions are kind of bad now, right? This is going to make Kayle really bad. This is going to make Kassadin really bad. This is going to make champions that need to get to those late game power spikes a lot worse. Because you're going to need more XP to get to those to get to your late game power spikes. So this is When only one champion assists on a takedown, the goal awarded the assist will change from 70. Okay, so this is a nerf to bounties pretty much, which is again good for good players, bad for bad players, because bounties will be less rewarded pretty much. We don't really care about this. Strategic objective changes. So this is pretty big. Take into account, okay. Strategic objectives can now be triggered earlier. That's actually really big. So strategic objectives were always a big deal. Oh, there's actually a massive buff to Twisted Fate and Pike. Because they're... And First Strike users too. And Sweet Tooth users. Because they will no longer be accounted when you're thinking about strategic objectives, which is the objective bounties that give you like a bunch of gold. So this is actually a very nice change for Pike and Raven and Twisted Fate and those champions. So soul changes, they're pretty much buffing every soul. But the problem is it's really hard to get soul. And dragons, if you don't get soul, suck. So this changes nothing pretty much. Like soul was already really OP. This just pretty much guarantees if you get soul, you win the game. Right? So, damage reduction stacking. So this is a nerf to champions like Irelia and Master Yi that have damage reduction in their kit, and Garen, right? So you can't stack multiple damage reduction things anymore, or it's a lot weaker. Ghost Port change. I'll have to see what the Jungle Spirit looks like. They're not giving us enough information here. The Rift Herald change is nice. It's gonna be a little easier for dumb players to use it. So this is really nice change for Conqueror and Kraken Slayer. It's not gonna fall off as quickly. So this is also, it's definitely nice for Conqueror, I think, mostly. So this is nice. If there's just some quality of life change, it doesn't matter. Quality of life. Quality of life, quality of life. The Hex Flash, quality of life, nice. Yeah, I think nothing else actually matters. The rest is... Oh, that's actually nice quality of life. Yeah, these are mostly quality of life. The Flash combo change. This is very nice for players that are bad at the game. And now it's going to make you do some crazy combos a lot easier. So if you're like a mechanically good player, this kind of a nerf. Because now everybody can do mechanically hard plays. Like Vice Volt Breaker. Because the Flash will auto go on them, right? So you pretty much hit it no matter what. However, there's a nice buff to these champions if you're bad at the game. We don't care about the social features, and that's it. So this is a massive patch with a lot of changes, and I'm super excited to get into it and play some games, try out the new champions, the reworks, and see how it feels. And this is the season that we're reaching rank 1 in China, so follow along in my journey. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.